before the graphics in a real smooth countdown. We passed the 50-second mark.
There was a time when the world stopped and everyone looked up to that pale dot in the sky and waited. Apollo 11 is a documentary that recaptures that sense. In some ways, it's the greatest home movie ever assembled, and it all started with boxes of 70mm film. Todd Douglas Miller, director, wanted to make a movie about the moon landing, and he didn't want to use talking heads. And then a NASA archivist phoned him with a discovery. It turns out that NASA had a film crew shooting the preparations in 1969. And this wasn't your uncle's old Super 8 camera. They were shooting on wide format 70mm, perfect for IMAX. And yet for that big screen, what Apollo 11 focuses on are the micro moments. Neil Armstrong suiting up, the endless rows of mission control, and the gloriously dated squinting faces and sunglasses all watching the event. The narrators are Walter Cronkite and the nameless public affairs officers calmly explaining each sequence. Oh, and the audio? Well, NASA had a 30-track tape recorder. Yeah, 30 tracks logging everything said.
Okay, all flight controllers, go to go. I don't go. Go. GNC, go. Econ, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
Canadian computer programmer Ben Feist, brother of musician Leslie Feist, wrote some software to clean up and unscramble the audio. And there's something about hearing and seeing flight director Gene Kranz give the green light that makes it more real. For the critical moments, like when Apollo escapes Earth's orbit, Miller uses simple line diagrams, a little like that lunar lander video game, to show the fuel and velocity rates. But besides the awe-inspiring visuals, what gives the film an extra boost is the music, a pulsating score that sounds like Hans Zimmer covering Tangerine Dream. These are the instruments composer Matt Morton used, all Moogs and other synthesizers from 1969. The result is a thrilling timeline beginning hours before liftoff, the Earth-shaking countdown, the rocket crawling to the sky on a fountain of flame, rivets the size of fists barely containing the propulsive power. What Miller captures is the sheer complexity of the endeavor, the panic as the lunar lander approaches the surface, and an alarm sounds. All we see is the gray moon inching closer as the voices of mission control try problem solving in real time. This isn't First Man. The inner lives of the astronauts are only hinted at. What Miller gives us is the wide view. Like America today, the moon mission took place during a divided time, just weeks before Woodstock, while the war in Vietnam ground on in the background. Sure, the space race was fueled by a desire to one-up the Russians, and the film has a very long and very deliberate shot of the American flag being planted. But the men of this movie, and they are mostly men, they don't look like heroes. They look like engineers, programmers, and pilots. The average age in mission control was about 26 years old. Apollo 11 shows us the hundreds and thousands of people all united in a singular mission, and they're floating in that capsule on their way back home. Astronaut Michael Collins talked about the moon's sea of tranquility and a mission for all mankind. It's a time capsule of an era when a country reached for greatness bigger than borders. 5 stars out of 5. Eli Glassner, CBC News, Toronto.